What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to do a 2025 year in review and look at our top 10 best eBay sales for this past year. This was not an easy list to compile, but we're going to start at number 10 and we're going to go in descending order down to number 1. So number 10 was a Disney Pixar Coco Cordoba mini guitar. This was a child's guitar. It was in excellent, like new condition in the original box, and they wanted $10 for it. So we paid that, obviously, and we marked it for a quick sale. We ended up getting $124.99 plus ship for that item. We went to an estate sale in the early part of the yard sale season. So this guy had this chest of old t-shirts, a lot of NASCAR type Dale Earnhardt shirts, a lot of old Harley t-shirts dating back to the 1960s. And there was one in particular that we sold for $124.99. At that same sale, there was another shirt. I'll show you this one, although it didn't make the top 10. There was another shirt that we sold for $99.99 plus ship in that same trunk. And I'm kicking myself because I don't buy a lot of old Harley Davidson clothing. There was more in there that I left behind. I'm kind of kicking myself now, but hopefully somebody else got a good score and knew what they had. Number 8, this was an item I may have picked up at the end of the 2024 season, but it sold in 2025. And this was a windshield wiper display cabinet. So if you were to go to an auto parts store in the 70s or 80s, you would have seen something like this. This was new old stock. It had never been mounted, and the gentleman wanted $3 for it. So I hit it with a bottle of Windex and a couple paper towels. We listed it for 150 bucks, and it sold in about a month. So that was a great flip. Moving on to number 7. This was also a yard sale find. This was a Vintage Lodge cast iron hibachi style charcoal grill. This had a crack in the grill grates, like a fracture. We disclosed that in the pictures and everything, but it really didn't hurt its resale value. We ended up selling that for $174.99 plus ship. We had $10 into this grill, so that was a nice little flip. Number 6, I won't belabor this one because we talked about it on a recent video, but this was an oil can that I purchased as part of an oil can lot. And I put it up at auction. It sold for, believe it or not, $305. If I had to guess, I may have had $10 into that can, tops. So that was a nice little flip. Next item, we're on to number 5. This one was a great buy. We paid $3 for this. It was a boombox from the 1980s. This was an estate sale. This woman was selling the contents of her mother's home who had passed. We walked into the garage and there was this particular boombox here, and right next to it there was a portable 8-track player, side by side. Well, this boombox we picked up for $3, sold at auction for $221.50. So a great little flip. As I recall, there might have been one issue with the record function. Something with the deck didn't work. We disclosed that, and whoever purchased it didn't care in the end. Next item, this was a yard sale pickup that Sammy found one day that I didn't go out with her. This is a Magnavox DVD recorder and 4-head hi-fi stereo VCR. This was brand new, sealed in the box. She paid $10 for it, and believe it or not, it sold for $249.99. Next item, this one I will never forget. So we went to a yard sale, early part of the season, and it was kind of a husband-wife sale. She had the majority of the front yard taken up with her stuff, crafts. It looked like some resale items, and her prices were very high. So I had all but given up on the sale, but I went over to the husband's side of the yard, and he had a table with a few items on it. I made a quick pass, and I didn't see anything. So then I walked to the next door neighbor's house. They were having a sale. So we didn't buy anything at that sale either, but on my way back to the car, I said, you know what, let me pop in one more time. I want to do another pass of that sale. And I went over to the husband's table again, and I discovered these fishing floats sitting there. I asked him what he wanted for them because nothing was marked, and he wanted $1. I had a feeling there was some value there, but I had no idea how much. Ironically, the blue and red fishing floats are the most valuable. These were both together in the original twine, or whatever you call it. They sold for $300 plus ship. These were listed for a while. I want to say maybe 3 months, possibly 4 months. Took a while to move them, but eventually somebody paid our asking. So fantastic flip. And the only reason I even knew to look at these floats was I had watched a YouTube video from somebody who, it wasn't even a flipping channel or a reselling channel, but they happened to come across some of these that were much larger. And I remember them being pretty valuable. So I kind of tucked that into the back of my brain. And when I stumbled upon this yard sale and saw these, that's the only reason I purchased these. And I have to tell you, I've passed these before and never bought them. So, in fact, I've seen them several times. So it's a good bolo item if you're out and about to keep an eye out for these things. Okay, next item. This was an auction find. So sometimes in the winter when our season dries up and we're having a hard time sourcing inventory, we'll go to a local auction. And I'm not a big fan of auctions because they are obviously super competitive. You're in a room with, 30 to 50 people that do exactly what you do, and may the best man win, but it's very difficult to make a buck at the auction sometime. But anyway, there were a couple of these dulcimers for sale. I didn't even know what a dulcimer was prior to this auction, but we're doing our walkthrough before the auction started. I'm kind of looking up some values, and I'm like, these dulcimers seem like they're pretty valuable. This one was in mint condition. What I paid for it, I'm guessing, was around, it was over 100, I want to say 120, 130 bucks, something like that, plus buyer's premium. We ended up selling that dulcimer for $575. There was another one we purchased at the same sale for considerably less that sold for $77, but it wasn't quite as ornate. So dulcimers have value. So if I ever come across another one, I'll be sure to give it more thought. So number one, I talked about this in a recent video, but I'll go into a little bit more depth. So this was a Facebook Marketplace find on a Saturday morning. This gentleman was selling 4 Mustang wheels and other parts for 500 bucks. But they weren't just Mustang wheels, they were Shelby GT500 wheels. So, and I think in his ad he put in there that they were takeoffs from a car that he bought back in 2007. So I expected them to be in like new condition. So I went and I purchased those wheels for 500 bucks. And he had enough Mustang parts from that car to fill my truck to the brim. Long story short, we probably sold 15 or 20 items off of that car and brought in somewhere around 3,500 bucks for a $500 investment. But there was one piece that we got as part of that entire lot that sold for over $1,000, and it was this supercharger. So this supercharger, we had this marked aggressively, and it sold for $1,149 plus ship. So great little pickup. The wheels alone from that car, originally we had them listed for $350, and I want to say we sold a couple of them at that price. And at this point, I was well into the profit. I kind of wanted to clear out some room, and we marked them down to $300 a piece, and I think that's what the last 2 sold for. We also sold the front brakes from that car, I want to say, for $475. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, here they are, $475 plus ship. So that was a great score. It really saved our season because it wasn't a great season for yard sales. The weather didn't cooperate with us, and the sales that were out there, they really weren't that great. So this pickup here on Marketplace kind of saved our bacon. So thanks for watching, you guys. It was a great year. If I don't do another video beforehand, I hope you have a great new year, and we'll see you soon.